Hello everybody, welcome back. It is, what time is it? Probably around, I can't look at my phone. It's late, that's all I know. This is the aftermath of Game 1 of your ALDS Boston Red Sox at the Cleveland Indians Game 1. Now, I wanted to get this video up quick because I want to have my initial impressions on the game still in fresh memory, kind of. I want them to be up top. I want to express them now because I feel like it wouldn't do my takes any justice if I let myself calm down about any certain things like Xander fucking Bogaerts. But yeah, so let's get right into it. Obviously, if you're watching this, you probably saw the game. Your Red Sox lost 5-4. I do still believe I would just get this out here because I've been watching a lot of stuff this week that has said that, oh, well, if the Boston Red Sox lose Game 1, they're done. They're not winning the series. I do not believe that. I'll get into why, but I do not believe they're done. Now, if they lose Game 2, are they done? I guess, yeah, that's a little more likely, but I still don't think they're done. But that's besides the point because I don't think they can lose Game 2, which is why I don't think they will. But, anyways, let's get right into the game. The first thing you want to talk about when you talk about the first game of the series, of the playoffs for the AL East champions, and who's on the mound? Potential Cy Young winning pitcher Rick Porcello. That's probably the first thing that comes to mind. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. And I was really getting ready to get on Rick Porcello's control. Because, obviously, when you have 3 home runs in 1 inning, your control is off, and they aren't on good pitches. But one thing is, if you watch this game, you would have realized that the strike zone was really high tonight. You notice, and I know I'm a big anti-strike zone on the TV thing. I think that takes away from the game. I don't like that. It's too robotic. It's not my thing. Not for baseball. I like a lot of the other things they do. I just don't like that. Like, I like pitch speed. I like, what else do they do other than pitch speed? I just pretty much like pitch speed. I don't like the stupid strike zone telling. Baseball's an opinionated sport. It's supposed to be what you think. Like, do you think that's a strike? Do you think that's a strike? So I don't like that. But if you were paying attention to that, you would have seen the amount of high strikes called. Top of the strike zone and above the strike zone. It was pretty ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty ridiculous. I will give whoever this... I forget the ump's name. I'm sorry. I will give him credit. He was consistent with it for the most part. And he was very consistent, in my opinion, very, very consistent with calling the corners. And that's huge. That's probably more important than calling height. Being consistent with height is calling that corner because it's the hardest thing to hit in baseball is an outside fastball, depending on what the setup is. It's very hard to do. So he was very consistent with that, and I appreciate that for sure. I'm sure the players did as well. But when I'm looking at Rick Porcello and how he did, I see I want to be upset out of his control because, like I just said, look at the pitches, the amount of pitches he let up in the zone. And then I look and I say, man, they were calling him up. They're calling him up there. Like, not Sandy Leon, but they were calling high strikes. But then I settle back down to earth, and I stop being a homer, and I realize, okay, so other than the hit batter, Santana, first at-bat of the game, he had Santana, got on base. First pitch of the game, I believe. Then he struck out the next 3 batters, Kipnis, Lindor, and Napoli. Those aren't 3 easy strikeouts. Napoli isn't necessarily the hardest strikeout, but Kipnis and Lindor aren't the easiest strikeouts in the world. But back-to-back, KKK, to get out of the first inning. And I remember those 3 strikeouts, and I remember, that inning really, man, he was painting the corner. Rick Porcello was painting low and outside fastball. Boom, 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 boom. Low and outside fastball, hit him with a curve. He blew Kipnis out of the water with 3 fastballs. Kipnis struck out 0-3. Fastball, fastball, fastball. Corner, corner, corner. And he couldn't touch it. I don't remember exactly what he did to Lindor, but I do remember just the fastballs. Just fastball, fastball, fastball. Now, he did challenge Napoli high a few times, but he got him on the outside fastball, I believe. So it was just like, man, his control was great early on, other than the first hit batsman. And then you see he loses the game, and really he lost the game because of his control. So it's just like, I want to say that the high strike zone has something to do with it, but really he had success in the first inning painting that corner, so I think he just lost control. And, game one in a hard place to play, you should be able to, not should, it's not like we have Madison Bumgarner or Kurt Schilling, but it'd be nice to be able to rely on Rick Porcello, our potential Cy Young winning pitcher, to beat Trevor Bauer, which he did not. Trevor Bauer let up 3 earned runs, according to my calculations, and Rick Porcello let up 5 over the same amount of innings. Actually, Bauer had a third more. Same amount of Ks with 5. Rick Porcello's ERA was 10.31, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't calculate Bauer's ERA because I really don't care. But 10.31 for your number one pitcher this season. Just control. Control was really his thing. That was his big issue. His curveballs were just high. Every single curveball after the first inning, they were just high. It was just like, man, like they weren't swinging at him every time, but they were just up. And I was just like, man, like he's gonna get clobbered. And then his fastballs were hitting the corner. He wasn't even trying to hit the corner. He was just throwing high fastballs, belt high and higher. So I was just like, what is he doing? Like, this is going to come back to bite him. And sure shit, third inning, 3 home runs, Perez, Kipnis, Lindor. Really, that set the tone for the game right there. But that's enough of that. Enough of Porcello. Pomerantz came in, pitched 2 1/3 innings, 5 Ks, no earned runs. He did let up a run, one of Porcello's runs. Wasn't earned because Porcello left him in on base. But Pomerantz, 2 1/3, 5 Ks, no walks, no hit batters, 1 run, no earned runs, and a 0 ERA. That's very promising. There are a lot of players on that lineup, a lot of lefties in this lineup that you're going to want to have that pitcher of a Drew Pomerantz to be able to go 2 1/3 if you need, to be able to throw 50 pitches if you need. A lot of question is, he hasn't thrown this many pitches in a season before, so how many games can you have him come out and throw 40-plus pitches? But he's not on an inning cap, I don't believe, and he looked good. I mean, he came out in, the 6th inning and struck out the side. So he did look good. I was very impressed with that. Joe Kelly almost let Napoli slip. Joe Kelly came in for, what was it? He came in the 7th inning just to face one batter, and that was Mike Napoli, because they didn't want Pomerantz, a lefty, facing the righty and Mike Napoli. And if Mike Napoli hit a home run, that would have sealed the game. But he came in, got a full count, but did end up striking on Napoli with a fastball right down the middle, right down the heart of the plate. It wasn't low middle; it was hearty, right over the damn center of the plate. But he got it by Napoli, which happens sometimes with Nap. Koji came in, looked good, let up a base hit, but he looked fine. Like, Koji's someone you can trust not to walk people, and that's going to be very valuable in the postseason, whether it's for the next 3 series, the next 2 series, the next series, or the next 2 games. So, the pitching, really, Rick Porcello was the only god-awful thing, and he started out so well, and that's the thing. Like, he started out so well. That first inning was absolute dynamite. His control was impeccable in that first at-bat. But Pomerantz, I was happy with Pomerantz, and I think John Farrell's going to feel the same way, and Carl Willis. But onto the batting lineup, onto the hitters. One thing that really irks me is Dustin Pedroia, Xander Bogaerts, and Jackie Bradley Jr. combined for 9 strikeouts, 3 apiece. That's scary. That's really scary. Pedroia's a leadoff hitter. I know he had a .318 batting average this year, which was tied second or third in the MLB. But with that being said, you can't strike out 3 times. I can give you a pass on the last strikeout because it was at the end of the game, and he put on a hell of an at-bat in that last at-bat. And just like it seems like everyone else on this fucking team fell for the curveball 7 feet in the dirt in the 9th inning against Cody Allen. But, he put on a hell of an at-bat. There's only so much you can do. But the other 2 strikeouts that he had, one looking not acceptable. 3 strikeouts really is not acceptable as a leadoff hitter. It's really not acceptable anywhere in the order when you're anyone on this Patriots, on this Red Sox roster. If you're this good, like you are supposed to be, your team is this good, your lineup is stacked. That should never happen. So that right there kind of irked me. But they came out the gate hot, guys. A double and a single out of the gate. Then Ramirez looks the best right now. Ramirez looks the best as a hitter. He looks confident. There was an at-bat, let's see, in the 8th inning, he had a runner on second base. It was after Big Papi got his double, and they brought up Marco Hernandez. So there's a 1 out, Hernandez on second, down by 1, or I believe, down by 1 at that point. And while he didn't get a base hit, he advanced the runner, and there was at one point, it was an 0-2 count in that at-bat. That's a big at-bat. It was an 0-2 count. And he gets a fastball, and he doesn't swing to hit the ball. He doesn't swing to get a base hit. He doesn't swing to hit a gapper. He swings to take the lead, and that takes confidence, and he did not strike out. He fouled it off, but, man, I was just like, man, like, that was right over the plate. You got to take that one yak. Just because the way he's hitting right now, I want him to do that. I want him to hit a home run every at-bat, but he's just seeing the ball so well right now. What did he finish with? 2 for 4 with an RBI, 2 doubles. Hanley looks good. Hanley looks really good. I'm very happy about what I saw from Hanley tonight, but honestly, it's just Bogaerts and Bradley, our 6 and 7 hitters, are absolutely atrocious. We are not going to win this series if they perform as poorly as they did tonight. Because not only if you look at it like this, they both have 3 Ks apiece. You had a home run from Leon, a home run from Benintendi, and a home run from Brock Holt. It was a game till the very end, to the last out. It was a game, and both of those players, Bradley and Bogaerts, 2 catalysts of your season this year, had 9 strikeouts. That right there should tell you how good this Boston lineup is, guys. And that leads me to another point. I don't want to get into all of the shitting on Xander Bogaerts, but I will. I don't want to get into it right now. But what I do want to get into is what I just kind of led into, and that's the fact that this team that you just faced, Cleveland Indians, are great at home. They are an energetic team. They feed off of each other. Kipnis and Lindor both had home runs. 2 of their best players had home runs. Napoli had a double. And Jose Ramirez, their unsung hero of the season, that's Napoli, but great player, batted like 300, who was not even supposed to really make the club. He had a double and a single, and an intentional walk. So, you have those players who are big parts of your lineup. Big parts of your lineup. They performed today. And then you got Perez. Obviously, if you watched the fucking game, you heard enough about Perez. They got so up his ass. They wanted his dick so bad that they were happy. Look, I played catcher in high school, okay? I wasn't great, but I know a few things. There are 2 strikes, okay? So nothing gets by you, because if they swing gets by you, the runner gets on base. There was a runner on third base with 2 strikes, up by 1. You want to protect the lead, and if a ball gets by you, the run scores, and it's 2 strikes anyways. You don't want the ball to get by you. He made a simple block on a curveball that he asked for in the dirt. And they're sitting here like, Roberto Perez, look at the awareness, the ability to get in front of the ball. It ramped up his arm. That's literally a called ball in the dirt that they wanted, where you're literally, you're going to be protecting for that anyways. You don't want the ball to get by you with 2 strikes or with a man on third base. So the fact that you call for the ball in the dirt, and there's 2 strikes, and there's a man on base, and you guys are surprised he blocked the ball, guys, he knew that was coming, and even if he didn't call for it in the dirt, you bet your fucking buttons his knees are gonna be pretty much buried in the dirt by the time the pitch comes anyways, because that ball can't get by you. So the fact that they're raving about that really pissed me off. But I'm sorry, I got off topic. All those players, good players, they performed. Obviously, Roberto Perez isn't a great player, really a good player, actually, at all. But he had himself a game, no doubt. No doubt. But you look at the top Red Sox players. They didn't have themselves a game. Pedroia, well, he had a hit and a run, struck out 3 times. Struck out to lose the game. Brock Holt isn't a star, had a good game. Mookie Betts, silent. Mookie Betts, in the first at-bat of the game, he had a man on first and second. Or was it the man on first and second, or man on first and third in the first inning? They threw him 3 straight fastballs. So, Trevor Bauer got behind 2-0. He got behind 2-0 on Mookie Betts, an MVP candidate. And what happens? Throws him 3 fastballs over the plate. What does Mookie do? Swings and misses on all 3. Talk about crumbling in the moment. I love you, Mookie, but that is ridiculous. Like, Mookie doesn't miss a fastball over the plate, let alone 3, with 3 straight with a man in scoring position. That is just pitiful. Just pitiful. He flew out to the pitcher as well. He had an atrocious game. Big Papi had that double at the end of the game, no doubt. Put the team in position to win, or tie, I should say. But other than a double, he flew out to first base, grounded out to second base, and he struck out. Not really much from him. Hanley Ramirez, yes. Hanley Ramirez killed it. Xander Bogaerts, I'm going to get into that later. Jackie Bradley Jr., 3 Ks. Sandy Leon and Andrew Benintendi, 2 players who aren't big on in your team. So what I'm getting at is the players that they needed to do well, their big players, their leaders of their team did well, the Indians. Other than Hanley Ramirez, the players that you need to do well, if you're a Red Sox team fan, the players that you need to do well did not do well. And they lost by 1 run, and they lost on the last out of the game. Obviously, every team loses in the last out of the game. But in the top of the ninth, with a runner on base. So it came down to the wire. None of your great players, other than one, did something. All of them sucked, really. But that other team, they did what they wanted to do, and they still barely beat you guys. And this isn't a 162-game season, so I don't have much leverage to say, in the long run, you guys are going to be so much better off because you still kept up with them with all your great players, because they could do this. This very thing could happen 2 more times in the next 2 games, and that's all it needs. That's all they need. So obviously, I can't sit here and be patient and say, guys, just wait. Just wait. Betts is going to get better. Pedroia is not going to strike out 3 times as a leadoff hitter. Jackie Bradley and Xander Bogaerts aren't going to strike out 6 times between them both. It's okay. There's no time for that. But with that being said, there is a reason to be optimistic, to be glass half full, have a glass half full attitude, and that is exactly what I just said. Your players didn't perform, their players did, and you lost by 1 run. And another thing that I did feel good about in this game is it never felt like we were out of it. There were chances where we could have been out of it, like when Pomeranz was on the mound, and who did he strike out? He struck out... Let's see here. Oh, nope, that wasn't him. Who did he strike out? Oh, okay. He struck out Chisenhall with a runner in scoring position, bases loaded. I'm sorry. He just struck out Chisenhall with the bases loaded, and I believe it was a 2-run game at that point, where if they get a base hit, 3 or 4 run lead, game over. 2 runs, you're the Boston Red Sox, you have a great lineup. Theoretically, you can come back from 2 runs, and we almost did. You can't come back from 4 runs, 3 runs in the 6th, 7th inning. I mean, yes, you can. I don't want to say you can't, but that's I would never do this, but 40% of fans turn the TV off at that point, rightfully so. And with the way a couple of your players tonight, or most of your players tonight were swinging the bat, I'd be turning the TV off too. But yeah, so guys, there were moments in this game that made me say, okay, they're fighting. And obviously, the Pomeranz at bat, the Kelly at bat, Kelly came in and got a strikeout when he needed it. That was big. I wish I could say the same about Rick Porcello, but Pomeranz struck out Lonnie Chisenhall with the bases loaded to keep it a manageable game. But did it ever, ask yourself this, did it ever feel like the game was over before the ninth inning? Did it ever feel like the Red Sox were not going to win this game? I mean, I get it. I get it if you're going to say in the third inning when there were those 3 home runs, you're going to say, you could be saying like, oh damn, they're going to run away with this. They're going to run away with this. But really, I mean, other than that right there, when they had a 2-run lead for like most of the game, did you feel like, damn, like we're going to lose? Or were you sitting there saying, okay, we got to do this inning. Okay, we have this guy coming up. These guys are coming up. That's cool. Like, we got this. That's how I felt. And that's good. Now, obviously, I have a patient approach, and I can't afford to be patient because it's the postseason. You only have a certain amount of games. But I don't, man, I don't know, guys. I want to tell you that it's going to be back, but you don't have many games. You can't afford to have this type of performance from your stars multiple games. So, and yet there's an old saying that pitching, this is a paraphrase, but pretty much moral of the story, moral of my paraphrasing shit, pitching is so much more important than hitting in the playoffs. Pitching is going to be there. Hitting is just streaky, and that's 100% true. And right now, Sox are cold, man. Sox are cold. Obviously, I mean the Stars are cold, but let me get into Xander Bogaerts. If this doesn't tell you that baseball is a mind game, a game played in your head, then I don't know what will. So Xander Bogaerts this year and really his career since becoming a starter, he's been one of the best, if not the best, contact hitter. Just contact, just slapping the ball in the other field, whatever it means to get a base hit. Just one of the best contact hitters, no doubt. He led the league this year, and this says a lot. He led the league this year in hits with 2 strikes on you, and he slumped a lot this year. So that shows you how good he was in a certain period of time this year. But Xander Bogaerts, one of the best contact hitters, okay? And he looked awful. I haven't seen a player... Why am I lagging? Whoa. Maybe we're running out of time or something. I've never seen a player look that bad. I mean, he couldn't lay off of anything. He was not comfortable. He did not believe he could hit the ball. He did not believe he had a chance to even move the runner forward. He just wanted to leave. He wanted that ball to magically find his bat because I think he knew, like, this wasn't going to happen. And me included, many people were at the neck of John Farrell for moving your 2 and 3 hitter for the entire season, Xander Bogaerts, from 2, where he's been, to 6. Why would you do that? Well, maybe it's because he probably didn't hit a goddamn ball past the pitcher in batting practice today because he didn't do it in the game. It was just brutal. He couldn't laugh of anything. Brutal. He had no control of his bat. Brutal. Now, I look at that game, I look at Pedroia's game, and I should be more mad at Pedroia because Pedroia is a leadoff hitter at least. But I'm not. Pedroia put up a hell of an at-bat at the end of the game. He started out the game, got everybody juiced up with that double. At least you can say he fought. Like, he fought that last at-bat. He started out the game hot with that double. Yeah, he K'd up, no doubt, but he fought in that last at-bat. Yeah, he lost, so it doesn't fucking matter. But Bogaerts didn't fight for shit. I don't care if it was a 2-2 count and he fouled off 2 other strikes in his last strikeout in the 8th inning. He wasn't fighting to hit the ball. The difference between Xander Bogaerts right now and Dustin Pedroia is Dustin Pedroia is fighting off pitches because he's trying to get that one to hit. Xander Bogaerts is fighting off pitches so he doesn't strike out. That's what he's doing. He's fighting off pitches because he knows, okay, I can walk if I keep I can walk if I keep fouling it off. I can walk. Just don't put me on base. Xander Bogaerts, with Benintendi on in the last inning, Dustin Pedroia is saying, throw me a strike because I want to hit it in the gap. I don't want to tie this ball game. Xander Bogaerts wants to just get out of there. He wants out. He's in his own head right now, guys. This is the most mental game, and he's in it. Bradley, too, looked awful. He had 3 strikeouts, and he hit a fly ball to the shortstop. Awful. Didn't look as atrocious. They were so disgusting down the stretch. So the last out with a man on base in the 8th inning. 2 outs. What happens? Xander Bogaerts strikes out. Then, to start the 9th inning, strikeout for Jackie Bradley. Then, Sandy Leon chases 2 straight curveballs in the dirt. Strikes out. Oh, Benintendi, the rookie, the one with the least amount of experience in this world, let alone in baseball, he gets a hit. Again, after having a home run. Then Dustin Pedroia, he strikes out, yes, but he fought. He had a great at-bat. He fought. Just gross. You know, you have your last 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 at-bats. You had 4 strikeouts in the playoffs when your season is on the line. That can't happen when you're as good as the Red Sox. That can't happen. You just can't. If you're not going to be hot the entire time, which no one expects you to, you have to have timely hitting. That's the difference. The difference between going 1 for 4 with 3 Ks is you have 3 Ks in the 1st inning, the 3rd inning, and the 5th inning, or the 7th inning. I don't know, something like that. But in the 9th inning, you get a base hit, you get on base, you end up scoring the game-winning run or a game-tying run. That's the difference. If you're not going to be hot, at least put yourself in position to do well. The Red Sox had chances to do well. These players who were slumping had chances to contribute, and they didn't. So Benintendi, great game, my friend. Obviously, you were a little slow in the outfield in that one play that led to the guy getting second base, that catcher stealing second base or tagging up. But you know what? We got David Price on the mound tomorrow. I have to work. I think it's at 4:30. I hope it's 4:30. I have to work till probably around 5. So I'm going to be DVRing the game. I am not going to check my phone on the way home. I'm not going to listen to the radio. I'm not going to check my phone at work while the game's on. And I'm going to go home. I'm going to turn on the game. And I'm going to watch it as if it's just starting when I get home. But you got David Price tomorrow. Mr. 217 versus Corey Kluber, Cy Young winner. Oh man, David Price, Cy Young winner too. Now think about this. Let me put this by you. Before I let you guys go, I want to leave you at this note. A, I love David Price. Do I love David Price, what he's been all year? Do I love his makeup this season? No. But over his career, I love David Price. Think about this. David Price, if he loses tomorrow, if the team, obviously if he lets up 1 run over 7, they lose 2-1, you know what? Fuck them. I don't care what the critics say. It's a good game. But if they lose tomorrow, you have Clay Buchholz on the mound in an elimination game in the Fenway opener. Now, he's been great. He's been great the last 4 starts. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's Clay Buchholz. I think if anybody knows, it's Red Sox fans, that you cannot rely on his track record. The only thing his track record shows you is that you can't rely on his track record. So, yeah, guys, I have reason to be optimistic. I'm upset that these players didn't perform. This is an explosive team, and you didn't get anything from Betts. You got 1 nice at-bat from Ortiz. Pedroia fought, but really, Bogaerts and Bradley, atrocious. But the guys, with that being said, all of those guys didn't perform, and all of their big guys did perform, and you only lost by 1. This can't keep happening. It can't keep happening if you're gonna let up 5 runs on 4 1/3 innings if you're your starting pitcher. I don't think David Price is gonna do that tomorrow. David Price is going into a team where I believe he let up 3 runs on 5. He won 5 2/3, let up 3 runs, and had 10 Ks in the first game of the season. Obviously, we want more than that. We'll take the 10 Ks, but we want more than that. We want more innings. We want less runs. But we also got to Corey Kluber 5 runs, I believe, in that game. So the Red Sox, that's a reason for these star players to be confident. And Betts had a good game against him at the beginning of the year. All of our stars really had a good game against him at the beginning of the year. So maybe there's some confidence going into tomorrow, but they need it. That you can't go down 2-0. You can't go down 2-0. Not with Buchholz and Eddie Rodriguez back to back. Now they've been doing fine, but they're not trustworthy. I mean, we looked at what if there's one player this entire season we looked at and we said they're trustworthy. It was Rick Porcello, and what just happened? 4 1/3 innings, 5 Ks, 1 hit batter, 5 runs, 5 earned runs, and a 10.31 ERA. Guys, the Red Sox have to win tomorrow. David Price hasn't had a great season, but he will earn a lot of that that money that he got this year if he can win the game tomorrow. Put the team in position to win. Will they do it? I'll see. You'll see. I'll be posting a video tomorrow, a little earlier.